This past Sunday, we addressed the question, God, why has isolation been so difficult? And really, that was born out of a couple of phrases that at the beginning of the year, I really wouldn't even have been able to identify. And now they seem to be an everyday part of our conversation. Those two phrases, of course, are sheltering in place and social distancing. It's been interesting to watch how people have responded to that. Fox News anchor Julie Banderas tweeted, "How long will this social distancing be going on? My husband keeps trying to get in the house," right? Hey, telecommunication providers ramped up. They set themselves up for higher volume on the internet once the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world, but they weren't prepared for the biggest surprise that they've received. Not surprisingly, using the phone to communicate, to talk with people in a phone call has decreased over the last several years with the rise of social media, texting, and just using email. Those have become the major ways that we've communicated with each other. But this virus has reversed that trend. Verizon says it's now handling 800 million calls per day, which is twice as many as they handle on the average Mother's Day, which historically has been one of the busiest days for phone calls. And they've also said that length of calls have been up 33% from the average before people began sheltering in place. Verizon's chief technology officer, Kyle Malady, said the move to staying at home has reignited people's hunger to stay connected voice to voice. Chris Sandbar, AT&T's Executive Vice President of Technology and Operations, says, "Voice is the new killer app. It's been a real surprise." It's interesting. We seem to be relearning what matters most, and it answers the question why isolation has been so difficult. And more importantly, it answers the question, when do we get to be back together again? Or it answers why we keep asking that question. And it comes out of a passage that's probably familiar to you. You've probably heard this. It's from Hebrews chapter 10. Beginning in verse 23, we read, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he, that is God, who promised is faithful, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." You know, for us as followers, let me say this, we don't exactly know when we will be able to get back together again, at least the way we used to know it. But we should be figuring out ways, because the reason we got together was to encourage one another. The reason we got together was to spur one another on to good works and good deeds. And we should be figuring out how to do that now. You know, you've done a great job of encouraging each other during our online services with comments back and forth during the service. I've noticed more neighbors connecting over the fence and across yards and from driveways. Here's the thing. Until we can be together again, we just need to be creative in finding ways to encourage one another, to spur one another on to love and good deeds. Be creative. We are limited only by our imagination. So I received an email this morning that I received permission to share with you, and it read like this. "Hey, great message this morning," referring to yesterday. "I live alone, so I understand the whispers of Satan. Sometimes I have to admit I give in to those whispers. It's a struggle that I try to handle on my own, and that never turns out good. So what I can say about this quiet time is it is different. I don't feel so alone because it's everyone that's isolated. This has actually been somewhat of a blessing. I've read my Bible more. I go to church 3 times on weekends. I share what I learned either via Facebook, texting, or calling someone. I'm not saying I want to do this forever. Please, no way. At church, I'm a social butterfly, landing here and there, hugging most people, laughing, just hanging out. My other blessing is that I'm still going to work. I work in a busy NICU and love what I do. I come home physically and mentally exhausted more now than ever before. I'm sorry, I guess I'm rambling a bit. Maybe I've isolated too long. But thank you for posting your service on Facebook, YouTube. It has been a blessing to this girl that sits home alone. Love you. Marcia Truitt from Jupiter, Florida. Listen, I just want to say, Marcia, you've encouraged me with your note. Thank you. And I hope that it's encouraged others as well, that someone as far away as Jupiter, Florida is connected to you through our time of worship. And if she can reach from Florida to Ohio, I'm going to bet that you can reach across the road. So would you do that today? Would you ask God maybe to direct you? Ask the Holy Spirit to help you think of a name of somebody who might just need encouragement. And then give them a phone call. Actually dial their number on your phone and give them a call to let them know that you're thinking about them. Listen, I hope you have a great, encouragement-giving, love-spurring on kind of day.